Imagine a world where the sins of your ancestors could define your entire life, where the choices of your parents might determine whether you face prosperity or adversity. This is not a dystopian future, but a central theme in the book of Exodus, where the character of God and his relationship with humanity are intricately woven into the fabric of the narrative. The story of Moses and the Israelites, their journey from slavery to freedom, and the giving of the law on Mount Sinai are all framed within a complex and sometimes contradictory portrayal of a God who is both merciful and just, loving and vengeful. In the book of Exodus, we see a God who is deeply personal yet overwhelmingly powerful. He is the God who delivers the Israelites from Egyptian bondage, parting the Red Sea and leading them through the wilderness. Yet, this same God is also the one who, in a moment of divine indignation, threatens to destroy the very people he has just saved. The tension between these two aspects of God's character is a recurring theme, and it reaches a climax in the double exposition of the law on Mount Sinai. When Moses first ascends Mount Sinai, the scene is one of overwhelming majesty and terror. The mountain is shrouded in smoke and fire. The earth trembles, and the sound of a trumpet blasts through the air. It is in this awe-inspiring setting that God gives the 10 Commandments to Moses. The law is inscribed on tablets of stone, a tangible symbol of the covenant between God and the Israelites. But the people, left alone at the base of the mountain, grow impatient and turn to idolatry, fashioning a golden calf and worshipping it. In his anger, Moses smashes the tablets, a physical manifestation of the broken covenant. Yet, this is not the end of the story. Moses ascends the mountain once more, and this time the scene is markedly different. There is no thunder or lightning, no earth-shaking tremors. Instead, there is a cloud that surrounds the Lord, and a blinding light that radiates from Moses' face when he descends. This second giving of the law is a moment of profound intimacy. God speaks to Moses face to face, as one speaks to a friend. It is a moment that underscores the personal relationship between God and Moses, a relationship that is both tender and intense. At the heart of this relationship is the concept of hesed, a term that is often translated as kindness and faithfulness, but is more accurately understood as covenant loyalty. In the ancient Near East, hesed was a term used in the context of treaties between a suzerain and a vassal. It referred to the mutual promise of loyalty, a binding agreement that was as much about trust as it was about obligation. When God describes himself as abounding in kindness and faithfulness, he is not just speaking of personal virtues, but of his unwavering commitment to the covenant he has made with Israel. However, this description of God contains a tension that is difficult to reconcile. God is described as forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin. Yet he also promises to visit the iniquity of parents upon children and children's children, upon the third and fourth generations. This apparent contradiction has puzzled scholars and readers for centuries. How can a God who is merciful and forgiving also be vengeful and unforgiving? To understand this, we must consider the context in which the book of Exodus was written. In ancient Israelite society, The concept of intergenerational punishment was not seen as cruel or unjust. It was a practical and ethical step forward, a way to ensure that justice was served even when the guilty party could not be punished directly. In a world without an afterlife, where the consequences of one's actions were limited to this life, the threat of punishment extending to future generations was a powerful deterrent. It was a way to reinforce the importance of moral behavior and to maintain social order. Moreover, the idea of intergenerational punishment can be seen as a form of karma, a belief that the consequences of one's actions will eventually catch up with them, even if not in this life. In this sense, God's promise to visit the iniquity of parents upon their children is not a sign of vindictiveness, but a statement of moral principle. It is a reminder that the choices we make have far-reaching consequences, and that we are responsible for the legacy we leave behind. Yet, this concept is not without its challenges. In a modern context, where individualism is highly valued and the idea of collective punishment is often seen as unjust, the notion of intergenerational punishment can seem harsh and unfair. However, it is important to recognize that the Bible is a product of its time and reflects the values and beliefs of the ancient world. The God of the Bible is not bound by modern ethical standards, but operates within the cultural and historical context in which the text was written. The personal relationship between God and Moses is a key element in resolving this tension. In the aftermath of the golden calf incident, God threatens to destroy the Israelites, but Moses intercedes on their behalf. He pleads with God to relent, reminding him of the covenant he has made and the promises he has given. God listens to Moses and changes his mind, a moment that underscores the depth of their relationship and the power of personal intercession. This personal relationship is further deepened in the scene where God reveals his glory to Moses. God tells Moses that he will pass by and allow him to see his back, but not his face. A moment of profound intimacy and reverence. It is a moment that highlights the paradox of God's character. He is both transcendent and immanent, both distant and near. In this relationship, God is not just a distant deity, but a God who is personally involved in the lives of his people. The book of Exodus closes with the construction of the tabernacle, a physical symbol of God's presence among the Israelites. Moses, personally, oversees the construction and placement of the ark, a moment that underscores his role as the mediator between God and the people. The tabernacle becomes a place where God's glory dwells, a tangible reminder of his presence and his covenant with Israel. In the end, the double exposition of the law in the book of Exodus is not just a narrative device, but a profound theological statement. It highlights the complexity of God's character, the tension between his mercy and his justice, and the importance of the personal relationship between God and humanity. It is a story that challenges us to think deeply about the nature of justice, the legacy of our actions, and the power of personal intercession. In a world where the lines between right and wrong are often blurred, the book of Exodus offers a timeless reminder that the choices we make have consequences, and that the God who is abounding in kindness and faithfulness is also the God who will not let iniquity go unpunished. In the final analysis, The book of Exodus is a story of redemption, a story of a God who is both just and merciful, a God who is willing to forgive but also demands accountability. It is a story that invites us to reflect on our own actions and the legacy we will leave behind. A story that challenges us to live in a way that honors the covenant we have with God and with one another.